Welcome back to the 2025 Deeper Podcast. I'm so excited that you've joined us today, that you're watching or listening. Let me remind you to share this video, to like this video, to subscribe to the channel so that you get updates when new videos come out. Today, I want to talk with you briefly out of John chapter 10. Now, I know we've been dealing with a lot of John lately. Have you read the book of Numbers? There is so hard sometimes to pull out some of the stuff out of Numbers when we're talking about these are the numbers of the clans of this, and this is the inheritance for all these people. All of that is important. I don't mean to downplay the importance of the book of Numbers. It's just hard sometimes. Some of it's just historical knowledge that we can then tie back into. I don't have time in a 6-minute podcast to give you all the backstory of why that was needed and happened. So John chapter 10, we see that in verse 10, he says, I've come that they may have life and have it more abundantly. But then in verse 11, it goes right along with the sermon series that we're actually reading through and going through. He says, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. Jesus here describes himself as the good shepherd. He knows his sheep, he leads his sheep, but he also protects his sheep. This is unlike someone who would be a hired hand who would just simply know when danger is there and maybe would even desert the sheep when danger comes. Jesus says, I am here and I will lay down my life for my sheep. It reminds us that we're not alone in this journey. Jesus would say in Matthew 28, I will never leave you, nor will I forsake you. Jesus is there with us. The psalmist in Psalm 23 would say, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. A couple of things that we find from this concept of Jesus being the good shepherd and us being the sheep. Number one, I would just say that sheep are dumb. Sheep are probably one of the dumbest animals out there. They can fall into traps. They can fall into danger really easily. And so they need a shepherd. What I will tell you today is Jesus calls to his sheep and the sheep know his voice. That's one thing we read here in John chapter 10, that the sheep know the shepherd's voice. And if you're one of Jesus' followers, you know his voice and you know that his voice is trustworthy. You know that he does ultimately lay down his life for us. We read about that, where he goes to the cross in our place. But today, how can we apply this concept of Jesus being the good shepherd and us being the sheep? The first one is we need to listen to his voice. In a noisy, chaotic, crazy world, if we will simply listen for his voice, he will speak to us and he will lead us through the chaos, the craziness, the clutter, all of those things. As we talked about just not too long ago in John chapter 1, he brings clarity among confusion. He brings clarity and he brings calmness in chaos. And if you'll just listen to his voice, many times what I've found about myself is when I find myself in a chaotic situation and I'm confused, it's because I haven't taken time to really listen for his voice, or maybe the noise of the world is drowning out his voice. So we've got to take time to listen to his voice, but we also have to follow his voice. We have to follow his voice and we have to trust him. Listen, he is the good shepherd. He is the best shepherd. He is the only shepherd. And so we've got to follow and trust his voice. Can I tell you that sometimes the things that he's going to ask us to do and the things that he's going to say when we listen to his voice, they're going to seem counterintuitive to us humans, but you got to remember, we're sheep. We're just not that smart. He's got the big picture at hand. He sees the whole picture. We just see part of the picture. So when we listen to his voice, we also have to follow him and trust him. But then the other thing, and this is the most comforting thing out of John chapter 10, we need to rest in his protection. We need to know that he is there to protect us, that he wants to protect you. He wants to protect you from making really stupid choices. He wants to protect you from doing some really stupid things that are going to take you down a path that you don't want to go down. That's the purpose of a shepherd. Listen, if sheep didn't need shepherds, then we wouldn't need a savior. Sheep need a shepherd to follow. They need to follow that shepherd. They need to follow him to protection. They need to follow him to a safe place. And we need to follow Jesus. No matter the danger, no matter the trials we face, we can know that Jesus has our best interests at heart. So today, recognize that Jesus is the good shepherd, that he has come to bring you abundant life, that he has come to bring you a life better than any life you could ever imagine on your own. Listen to his voice, follow him by trusting him, and rest in his protection today.